Welcome to the Quinte branch of the Ontario Genealogical Society. The Quinte branch of the Ontario Genealogical Society was founded in 1980 and has operated as a branch of OGS serving the greater Quinte area up until the present. The Quinte branch of OGS maintains a website at quinte.ogs.on.ca and is active on social media, such as Facebook. The website hosts numerous searchable databases, hundreds of links to other sites of genealogical interest, and a members lounge, which offers over 300 cemetery transcriptions for members to browse at no cost. The Quinte branch is centered in the Quinte Branch Research Library Room at the Quinte West Public Library in Trenton, Ontario. This research library is home to hundreds of volumes and documents containing often unique information relevant to family historians researching their ancestors in the greater Quinte area. Contact the Quinte branch by email at quintebranch@ogs.on.ca. The Ontario Genealogical Society, alternately operating as Ontario Ancestors, has more than 35 branches and special interest groups throughout Ontario. The Ontario Genealogical Society was founded as a non-profit corporation and a registered Canadian charity in 1961, dedicated to assisting those interested in the pursuit of family history and to preserving Ontario's genealogical heritage. The Quinte branch of Ontario Ancestors is a member of this province-wide community of family historians. This video has two main goals. Firstly, to explore in a general sense online optical character recognition, often termed OCR, as a potential strategy in an indexer's toolkit. And secondly, to identify how this technique might be specifically applied to indexing the Hastings County Directory of 1869-1870. A significant genealogical source printed by the Intelligencer newspaper in Belleville, Ontario, under the direction of Mackenzie Bowl. When indexing historical records, we would like to find information in neat tabular form with clear rows and columns of consistent data, like this table, but this seldom happens. This searchable table is the final product that we aim to develop. Using this table, researchers can identify persons of interest, the source or sources that their name appears in, the page on which that specific name is found, and a location in the Quinte Branch Research Library where that source is stored. Despite the darkened paper, smudged printing, runny ink, and rather primitive typesetting, this document is far from the worst that an indexer might encounter. The red boxes highlight expected errors that will be encountered when running this document through the OCR process. The printed quality of the document on the left is better in all respects than the previous page from the Hastings County Directory for 1869-1870. However, when this document is run through the OCR process, it produces two separate and competing columns of data, as shown on the right. Experience has shown that it's better to split the original page into two separate narrow pages, as the red boxes suggest, saving the strips separately, either in a PDF or JPEG format, before applying the OCR process. Both of these samples from local family trees display superior printing, but are formatted in three columns, which would need to be separated, and in each case saved as separate files, either as JPEGs or PDFs, prior to engaging the OCR process. Two online platforms were used in the OCR process in this project. This is the most intuitive platform, located at www.onlineocr.net. 4 steps are required to produce an OCR image of a selected file. Drag and drop the selected file in step 1, set the output format to Microsoft Excel in step 2, click the Convert button in step 3, and download the output file in step 4. The second online platform used is located at docsumo.com/free tools. Although this platform is more complex and has a steeper learning curve, it was able to produce workable OCR images in a few cases when the first platform could not, and provided a reliable backup option. These are the URLs for the two online OCR platforms used in this project. The restrictions on these two free platforms related only to the number of images that could be processed in a given time. OnlineOCR.net limited images to 15 per hour. DocSumo.com/free tools limited the number of images that could be processed to 25 per 24-hour period. Other than that, both platforms provided full-featured OCR conversion. Based on the procedure used previously in processing the Hastings directories for 1860 and 1864, and the condition of the pages in this 1869-1870 Hastings Directory, the decision was taken to check for efficiencies and improvements in the overall workflow. The questions asked were: 1. Can digital photo enhancement produce more accurate data from the OCR process? And 2. Does the OCR process itself produce consistent data? A typical page from the Hastings County Directory of 1869-1870 was converted to a JPEG format, essentially a digital photo. This file was run past the OCR platform in 3 independent trials. In Trial 1, there was no enhancement. In Trial 2, brightness and contrast were significantly enhanced. In Trial 3, only contrast was significantly enhanced. To evaluate the consistency and therefore the accuracy and dependability of the OCR process, a page from the Hastings County Directory of 1869-1870 was again selected. This page, in a PDF format, was processed in 3 independent trials by the OCR platform, employing separate uploads and identical edits after downloading the results. For independent trial number 1, the cells highlighted in green show errors that were directly attributable solely to the OCR process. For independent trial number 2, identical cells showed errors again directly attributable solely to the OCR process. And for independent trial number 3, identical results were observed. As a result of these 2 brief field tests, some conclusions can be drawn. Can digital photo enhancement produce more accurate data? Since all 3 files produced almost identical results, the answer is no. Converting the original PDFs to JPEGs and enhancing them with digital photo techniques is not worth the extra effort, since it produces no additional reliability in the data after the images are passed through the OCR process. Does OCR produce consistent data? The answer in this part of the experiment would have to be an emphatic yes, as all 3 examples in this case produced identical results. Let's see how the OCR process actually works on the website onlineocr.net using a PDF file in real time. Drag the file from its location on your computer and drop it on the Select File button. Check to confirm that the language is English and that the output format setting is for Microsoft Excel. Click on the Convert button. When the file has been processed, we will see a preview in the lower part of the screen. Click on the Download Output file. The website will put the converted file in the default download folder on your computer. When the file's been downloaded, click on the Download Complete prompt to open the file in Microsoft Excel. And the OCR'd file will set up in Microsoft Excel as a CSV, a comma-separated values file, ready for your next step. This converted file has opened in the default spreadsheet Excel in Protected View. It is necessary to click on the Enable Editing button to be able to adjust the data into a format that can be used for indexing. A couple of rows in this dataset can be removed, as they are left over from the original document and were created as separate rows by the OCR process. The data for each row, which is bunched up in column A, needs to be assigned to separate columns. Fortunately, in this document, commas have been used to separate different elements within each record, and now those commas can become separators or delimiters in our spreadsheet. Selecting column A and clicking on the data group, followed by activating the Text to Columns option, will initiate dividing our data into the required columns. These actions activate the Text to Columns wizard. In step 1, delimited must be checked. as we are using comma delimited values. Once delimited is selected, a data preview is presented to illustrate how the data will appear in columns. In Step 2 of the Text to Columns wizard, tab, the default setting, must be changed to comma, as this is comma delimited text. The other options can remain as default. Clicking Next advances to Step 3 of the Text to Columns wizard. Since a general format works in this case for all columns, clicking Finish will exit the Text to Columns wizard. The data now presents in a spreadsheet format with surnames, given names, occupations, and locations, mainly in the proper column. A final adjustment in the width of each column to accommodate its data sets up the final stage in which an indexer will clean the data into a finished format. Manually erasing some data and copying other data to a new location results in a set of much cleaner records. The data has been sorted into 4 columns, namely surnames, given names, occupations, and residents. At this point, these records are clean enough to combine with other records in a searchable table. At this point, surnames and given names could be extracted and combined with source document titles, library reference numbers, locations, and pages to create a new batch of records which could be added to the Find It master index referencing documents in the Quinte Branch Research Library. The occupations and residences data could be added to the dataset prepared for Find It and form the basis for a standalone searchable index focused solely on the Hastings County Directory of 1869-1870. Based on past experience, this page from Madoc Township will be the easiest layout to convert using an online OCR process. The layout on this page from the town of Belleville in the Hastings Directory would be only slightly more problematic and would certainly qualify as a candidate for OCR. The layout on this page from Trenton, naming members of councils, associations, and societies, might qualify as a candidate for OCR, but might also be more easily indexed using a different strategy. The layout on this page from Marmora, featuring display ads from several businesses, would probably not be a good candidate for OCR, as there are only a few actual names mixed among the rest of the words, and there is no particular structure that lends itself to the overall indexing process. Although this video references only the Excel spreadsheet, there are several free alternative spreadsheets that would do a credible job as part of an indexing project. These free alternatives include OpenOffice Calc, Google Sheets, LibreOffice Calc, and WPS Office spreadsheets. Several of these software packages also run on a Macintosh computer or as part of a Linux operating system. If you would like to help with this indexing project, or simply participate in the greater genealogy community in some other capacity, please contact us by email at quinteindex@ogs.on.ca or phone us at 613-394-3381, extension 3328. Family history is a great hobby, and together we can make it even better.